Welcome to Strength for Today's Man. This is volume 42. Before we get started today, briefly, I just want to go back and recap on the notebook journals that I created and introduce it to many of you that are new to the channel. Thanks again for smashing that like button, for sharing the podcast, and also subscribing to the podcast. Thank you guys so very much. But those of you that are brand new, welcome to the show. On the audio, I welcome you as well, all over the world. Thank you for sharing and following us. So here are 3 of the notebook journals that I created that God placed in my heart. The first one is the prayer journal for men. Luke 18:1 says, "Then he spoke a parable to them that men always ought to pray and not lose heart." This is a journal that you can jot down many of your thoughts during the day, even as you're taking notes in study time or whatever. Awesome book for men. All right. Now, here's a journal notebook for men. This is In the Heart of a Man, There is Greatness. Never, ever give up. All right. Notebook journal for him. So if you're looking for something for Father's Day, hey, here you go. Look at that. It's blank line pages where he can jot down all of his thoughts, ideas. Now, women, I didn't forget about you. Here's a great Mother's Day gift. Oh, yes. In the heart of a woman, there is greatness. Make this day great. Notebook journal for her. Same thing. Line pages inside to where you can go in and write down all your thoughts and ideas right there. All right. Now, the other thing I want to talk about real briefly is I also created, it's called Renew Your Mind New Testament Word Search Series. This is the Gospels. There's 4 of them: Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. This was dedicated to my mom because I know she loves butterflies. So you can see on the back of that has a nice pretty little butterfly there. It's dedicated to her because she loves doing puzzles. She loves crossword puzzles, word search, and also, the regular tabletop puzzles. She loves doing those. And I know that this is great for the mind. It strengthens your mind. And so on these, the great thing about these, see here, it's just a regular word search puzzle, but each page coincides with a chapter in the book. That's what's really cool. So when you go on page 1, it's chapter 1 on each of these: Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. Now, the link for those will be down below in the description, Amazon.com, and you can pick you up quite a few of those if you like. I would appreciate that very much. Share it with however many people that you want to share that with and be a blessing to them. Walk in Faith Publishing is my company, so it's on Amazon.com. All right, enough of that. Let's get in this. Today, I want to go to Proverbs 19:21. And I'm going to read first the King James Version where it says, "There are many devices in a man's heart. Nevertheless, the counsel of the Lord, that shall stand." Now, I want to read the other one version in the New Living Translation where it says, "You can make many plans, but the Lord's purpose will prevail." Oh, I'm entitled this one, "What's the Plan?" How many times have you asked that question to some of your friends? You guys get together, everybody's looking at each other going, "Okay, what's the plan, man? What we gonna do?" "I don't know." Now you just sitting there like Cedric the Entertainer says, "Oh, we're just wheelie-neely." What is wheelie-neely anyway? But that's what we're doing. We just sitting around all wheelie-neely, not knowing what we're doing because nobody has a plan. Planning helps us prepare for the unknown. This is why we plan. This is why we're taught to plan. You can go through a lot of leadership strategy courses, and the first thing they'll start teaching you is planning. Planning provides a sense of security, a sense of stability for the journey that we're on in this life. This is why it's important to plan. Now, it's said in business, and I remember this when I was in network marketing in prepaid legal. I was in prepaid legal, I was in telecommunication, I was in travel, I was in so many different network marketing companies. I was even in Shackley. Remember that? How many of you remember Shackley? Whoo, that's an old one. But they all had this same saying: if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. And that is so very true. If you fail to plan, you plan to fail. But sometimes, ladies and gentlemen, we need to put our plans in perspective. How many things in our lives have actually turned out the way we planned them? Handful, 2 or 3, who knows? Only you. And when you think about it, what did it teach you? Are there win columns and lose columns? When your plans worked out the way they were supposed to, what did that teach you? When the plans didn't work out the way you wanted them to, what did that teach you? There are life lessons in all of that. I know my kids, every time I try to explain something, they're like, oh, here we go, life lesson. Yeah, everything that you do has a life lesson. There are consequences in what we do. Even in planning, the things that we learn from our planning, our plans may fail and our plans may succeed. But if our plans fail, that doesn't mean we lost. A lot of people are ready to throw in the towel and give up because their plans did not work out the way they wanted it to work out. That doesn't mean you're a loser. Stop telling your children that you're a loser because what they plan to do didn't work out. That just stretches them to continue on to succeed with their dreams, their goals, and their aspirations. Tell them to keep planning. Well, you didn't make it this time. You didn't make your goal this time. Push that goal out just a little further and keep planning. We plan to succeed. Come on. There's a winning side to this. Now, on the flip side of our plans failing, when our plans are fulfilled, that doesn't mean we're found. We find ourselves not in the fulfillment of our plans, but in the fulfillment of the Lord's purpose. That's the most important part about this, is being fulfilled in the Lord's purpose. We don't really have a purpose. It's God's purpose. We might have many plans, but it's God's purpose that's going to prevail. I feel the most difficult part of planning is surrendering our plans to Him and His purpose. That's the hard part. That's difficult because we don't want to let go. We want to hold on tight. We want to keep tight grip on our plans because they're our plans. But if we just let go and let God, there's so many wonderful things that can happen once we walk in His purpose. That's how you can be fulfilled. It's a good thing to plan. And I agree with anyone that wants to sit down and plan. That's a good thing. But when we bind ourselves to our plans, we run the risk of losing hope. We really do, because now we're wrapped up in what we want to do. When we get married to our plans, you stand the chance of setting yourself up for disappointment. Now, hear me on this. It's not to say that marriage is a disappointment, okay? But what I'm saying is when you get attached to something, when you marry yourself to your plans, you set yourself up for disappointment because we can be disappointed by our lack of success. Man can let us down. We get disappointed. That's a given. But when we plan with open arms, when we plan with our hands open and pursue our plans with the freedom to fail. Don't be afraid to fail. If you're not afraid to fail, you'll try anything new because you're not afraid to fail, because you know within that failure, there's going to be a level of success. Don't be afraid to fail. A lot of people don't want to attempt to do anything because they don't want to fail. They're too embarrassed. They're too scared. They're too leery. They're too weary. I don't want to fail. I don't want to fail. So they don't do anything. So now they're failing because they're not planning. Don't be fearful of failing. We can embrace the Lord's purpose with joy, even if that means being taken off the path that we created for ourselves. And I'm going to close with this. God, as I journey through life in pursuit of you, remind me that your purpose will prevail. Loosen my grip on the plans I have for my life. Open my hands and my heart to joyfully receive the purpose you have for me. God has a purpose for you. So what's the plan? What's the plan, y'all? Put your plans in God's hand. It's his purpose that will prevail. This is Strength for Today's Man, Volume 42. I'm Malachi Mitchell. You guys go out there and make it a great day. Plan, plan, plan. And I'm going to meet you right back here on the next podcast. You guys be blessed.